Hey everybody, Hoosier Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking episode 10 of Gotham called Lovecraft. Now, despite his name being part of the title, Dick Lovecraft is in fact really not that big of a character in this episode. He basically just has that one scene. But it is a very, very interesting scene, and I think it provides some serious insight into what the big picture in Gotham is. And this is based on a couple of things. One, he mentions that there was right before the Waynes were killed, there was a run on Wayne Enterprises stock. This sort of indicates that it basically kind of points to whoever was behind this being somebody in Wayne Enterprises or somebody with some serious connections to them. And he also gives that big speech about how you don't really know who it is that are the real puppet masters in this town. You don't have any idea who it is that's really controlling things. And these people are laughing at you. So this sort of says that there are people beyond the mayor, beyond Falcone, beyond Fish Mooney, and that they're the ones who are really controlling things in Gotham. Now, there's the question, of course, is, well, who are these people? Well, there's basically one group that kind of fits this description that comes to my mind, and that's the Court of Owls. These were some bad guys created by Scottish writer Grant Morrison. Really, really talented guy. Done a lot of fantastic work at DC over the years, including some really, really nice stuff on Batman. Now, I'm not going to go too crazy into details on these guys, but the short version is think of them as sort of Gotham's criminal Illuminati. And they also do tend to have assassins who work for them. But the guys that we see coming after Bruce and Selena this episode, like the lady who we see, basically she even repeatedly says, "You're not in the contract." And the Court of Owls have people who are like specifically dedicated to doing their dirty work for them. Them hiring freelancers, well, I could sort of see them doing that if they didn't want to expend any of their more vital assets. But in any case, this is again just me sort of spitballing here. But the female assassin, who we never do get a name for, I don't think she's an established character from the comics. She does sort of fit the bill of somebody who would work for them. But again, we do remember these are freelancers. We see Alfred kill one of these guys. The lady gets away, and then the Gotham cops take the other guy into custody. You see a brief shot of, I believe it was Bullock, slapping the cuffs on that guy at the end. And yeah, members of the Court of Owls, they don't get busted by the Gotham City PD. They are way beyond ordinary Gotham cops. And yeah, I'm just going to sort of throw that out there as my theory as to who's really pulling the strings behind the scenes in Gotham. And I will tell you, though, that the Court of Owls does have some genuine, serious connections to the Wayne family. So if you want to know more about those, seriously, go and hunt up those comics. You probably find some nice collections of that stuff down at the local library. I know there's my local library has tons and tons of Batman collections. So anyway, now I did there were some other things in this episode that were one, I really enjoyed the shots of Gotham City that we got in this episode. You know, views of the nasty side of town. We see Bruce and Selena out in that field out by some factory where we can really sort of see Gotham in the distance. I really, really love how this show has done a very, very good job of making Gotham feel like a real place. And that is some serious points to the cinematography on this show. Now, I also like that it is now canon that, for real, Batman did get at least a little bit of his training from Catwoman herself. And I gotta say, I gotta give a lot of credit to Carmen and David. I'm not even gonna try and pronounce their last names. Who are playing Selena and Bruce. These two kids are really, really talented, and I really do enjoy their chemistry together. I also like how Bruce has this really uncanny knack for accidentally hitting Selena in the sore spots, unintentionally getting through her guard. Last time around, he kind of hits a sore spot in regards to her mom, and then he sort of hits her around this time by pointing out, you know what, you're not really a nice person. And, Selena is genuinely hurt by this as much as she tries to cover it up. And I think it hurts because she kind of knows it's true. Selena knows how to be polite when she's looking out for number one, but altruism is not in Selena Kyle's nature. Which is, again, not to say that she's a bad person, just she's a person who looks out for number one and, kind of willing to show at least a modicum of respect for other people. But, again, she comes first. And given her background, that's perfectly understandable. But again, Selena and Bruce had started to form a bond a little bit, and I think Selena more than a little enjoyed the fact that Bruce obviously had a crush on her. So him sort of saying that, and again, just seeing right through her on that occasion, that hurt. And of course, Selena is also pretty good at. I just sort of like how she really knows how to sort of pick on Bruce without being really nasty about it. She does point out that he's not really very typical for a kid his age. But again, Bruce was probably raised, just to have very good manners. And that people with very good manners just sort of register as odd to some people, especially people from rougher backgrounds. And I even liked how the fence even sort of teased Bruce about his the way he spoke, which again, in all fairness, is not really how a typical 12-year-old speaks, but a very smart, very well-educated 12-year-old who's been raised to have good manners. Yeah, that's perfectly believable in my book, especially if he comes from a somewhat old-fashioned family like the Waynes might have been. But anyway, the sort of like Bruce and Selena out on the streets of Gotham together. This was something that was kind of inevitable, but I really did like it. It sort of really kind of gave Bruce the chance to sort of see this world that Selena has been telling him about. And of course, it gives him the chance to run into young Ivy Pepper. Now, note that she says that she was adopted by a family upstate. So, for people who will not shut up about, hey, why did they change Poison Ivy's name? Well, here you go. There's the explanation for you. I mean, Pamela Isley becoming someone named Poison Ivy is just a little too on the nose, wouldn't you think? So, here you go. Now, granted, she never said that the family that adopted her were the Isleys or anything like that. I mean, for all we know, Pamela could be her middle name. But whatever. So there, we have a fairly reasonable explanation. And again, there's no law that says that Pamela Isley absolutely had to be Poison Ivy's birth name. I mean, for example, in the comics, it's been implied a couple of times that Edward Nygma is in fact an alias that the Riddler came up with, and that his birth name was in fact Edward Nashton, which actually makes a hell of a lot more sense. But, details, right? Anyway, so we do get to see Bruce and Ivy meet, and we get to see a little bit more of what Ivy is like without her parents around. Father dead, and apparently her mom has since cut her wrists, presumably her being dead and all. And looks like Ivy is well on her way to being that kid that whips out a box cutter in the high school cafeteria, which is kind of not really what you would expect from Poison Ivy, who, as an adult, is very much a smooth operator. Like, Ivy is somebody who knows how to plot and think her way towards what it is that she wants. And, of course, seduction, of course, being one of her favorite tools. But again, she's 12 freaking years old. But anyway, we do get to see some of those really cool moments with Bruce and Selena jumping across the rooftops, showing them, both giving kind of a clue as to where their ultimate destinies lie. Selena makes the jump without effort, and Bruce, he makes it, but just barely. So showing that he's a couple of steps behind. He's a couple of steps behind Selena, but that he's got the chops. And even Selena gives Bruce some credit for that one. And of course, it was just pretty cool to see them sort of teaming up to escape from the bad guys, and Bruce, distracting the female assassin, who gives them that really great bit of advice about, don't mistake, bravado or whatever for good sense. Again, a lesson that Bruce actually does need to learn as Batman. And then it, of course, wraps up with Selena coming back and returning that stuff to Bruce. And them forming a nice little bond at the end. And yeah, Bruce, of course, gets his first kiss from Catwoman, which is just so damn cool. And I do like how things end. I mean, yeah, Selena plays it off as like, I just want things to be square between us. I don't think she can really bring herself to admit that, you know, Bruce is okay in her book, that he has genuinely earned. Well, I think she doesn't want him to have the idea of just how much of her respect he's earned. She did give him credit, my city, my rules, and all that. But I don't think that admitting you've earned my respect is something that comes very easily to Selena. But it certainly will be very interesting to see what happens the next time these two meet. So moving on to the adults. Moving back to the adults, I suppose. Bullock doesn't take the reaction, Gordon informing him about the whole Selena situation very well, but that's really about the main thing that we have with Bullock. Beyond that, we get to see that nice scene between him, Gordon, and Alfred, proving that the main guys here on Gotham are very cool when they get together and just shout at each other a bunch. And then, of course, Alfred and Bullock get to go and have that scene with Fish Mooney. And this episode is also really one of the strongest ones for Alfred that we've seen yet. And I like how we get to see both sides of Sean Pertwee's interpretation of Alfred. We get to see the really, really badass Alfred, really, really scary Alfred, and then we get to see smart and charming Alfred. So again, a very, very versatile guy, Alfred Pennyworth. And the show is extremely lucky to have Sean Pertwee playing him, because he is a very talented guy. And of course, dude, Sean Pertwee and Jada Pinkett Smith having a scene together, bouncing off each other. Good stuff. And I just love how, Alfred is just like, oh, no, Harvey, let me handle Fish Mooney. And he totally wraps Fish Mooney around his finger in like 5 seconds. That's awesome. And of course, that did lead to the scene with Alfred and Bruce being reunited, and hug. Bruce, when he said to Selena, Alfred is his family. I mean, feels, baby, feels. Okay, so with that out of the way, we come to Gordon. And there's some nice stuff for Gordon in this episode. And I absolutely love that scene with him and the mayor at the end, where the mayor is basically trying to intimidate Gordon and Denton. He's going like, I should have you both dumped into sacks and thrown in the river. And I find this unintentionally hilarious, because we've seen that the mayor is really just a big fat chicken shit. If he doesn't have his office as mayor to hide behind, the guy's nothing but a little weasel. He's a puppet of Falcone and the other mobsters in Gotham. The mayor is a friggin' nobody. Of course, he is still the mayor. So, and as it is said, politics is warfare by other means. So, in the terms of the whole physicality of the situation, like Gordon has shown that the mayor knows that the mayor is a coward, and Gordon has previously literally slapped the cuffs on the mayor. So Gordon is not intimidated by anything that that the mayor can throw at him. Now, the thing is, though, that the mayor is very good at politics. He knows how Gotham works. He knows the people, and he is able to use the system against Gordon. That's the one thing the mayor can do. And telling the mayor to kiss his ass is Gordon saying, you aren't scaring me off, and I don't care what you can do as mayor. I'm still going to take you down. You do not intimidate me. And of course, this gets him shipped to being the Gotham City PD guy at Arkham Asylum, which, that's going to be fun. But the mayor does bring a good point up when he's talking, and that's the difference between Gordon and Dent is that Dent knows how to walk the line. And when Mayor is talking about like, okay, I'm gonna have to punish one of you, Harvey kind of speaks up a little bit and goes, I object. And the mayor turns it right back around on him and he goes, yeah, but I notice that you don't object too strenuously, Harvey. Again, the one thing that the Mayor James has going for him is that he knows how to play politics. And Harvey is a guy whose thing is also politics. And that's his main weapon. the power of the political system in Gotham, specifically the prosecutor's office. If he loses his job, Harvey's out on his ass and can't do anything to improve things in Gotham. So, as much as he might not like it, he has to play the game, especially seeing as how as he said last episode, he was putting a lot on the line. Well, Harvey gambled and lost, and now he's got to take his lumps and sort of do what the mayor says. Now, of course, this raises the question, how in the name of God is Gordon ever going to trust Dent again? Because it is sort of understood in the comics that Harvey and Gordon are eventually going to become strong allies and start making a real difference in Gotham. Well, I'm going to guess that Gordon is probably going to be very reluctant to trust Harvey again. But that just means that Harvey is going to have to go out there and do something serious to, give the bad guys that be a kick in the teeth. If he can do that, then I can understand Gordon being willing to give him a second chance. I mean, look at Gordon and Bullock's relationship. Bullock was basically the embodiment of the complacency and corruption going on in the Gotham PD. And yet at this point, he and Gordon, albeit, are allies. Granted, Gordon had to drag Bullock there kicking and screaming, but that's how things work. So, yeah, there are people who are rallying to Gordon's side, but we can never forget there are a lot of people who are basically lining up for a chance to kick him down. And, I kind of think that it covers everything that I had to say about Gordon. And, frankly, about Dent, too. Let's see. Moving on over to what's going on with Penguin. Well, I like how this episode is, again, kind of reminding us that Carmine Falcone is a dangerous guy. I mean, for the first part of the season, he was just sort of the guy who's sort of walking around doing the whole Don Corleone thing, but we never really got to see very many signs of his viciousness. It was really only in Penguin's umbrella and since then that we've gotten to see that, yeah, Carmine Falcone walks the walk and he can talk the talk. This is not a guy who you trifle with lightly. And as we see with his fellow gangsters at the dinner, yeah, Falcone is indeed capable of bringing out the nasty brutality when he wants to. Of course, he's kind of oblivious to the fact that by jacking up the taxes on his underlings, he's just making it easier for Fish Mooney to do exactly what she does in this episode by sending Butch out to go like, hey, aren't you sick of this old guy jerking your chain like this? And, of course, Carmine is also oblivious to the fact that Penguin rightly points out that sort of doing something like this is not Maroni's style. Maroni, as we have previously seen on the show, wants Falcone to know, hey, this is me screwing with you. So this whole thing of hitting the vault and then blowing up the money and not going, F you, Falcone, I mean, Oswald is totally right. That is not what Maroni would do. And the fact that Falcone doesn't realize this lends credence to what Fish is saying, that he's getting old and just not able to keep up with how things are in Gotham anymore. The guy's dangerous. You can't count Falcone out just yet. But Fish is right. The old man doesn't have quite the magic touch that he used to. And I like how Fish even just describes Liza as this time bomb. This time bomb that's just waiting to go off. And it's going to go off at a time and a place of Oswald Cobblepot's choosing. And if he plays it right, this bomb can take out Fish and Falcone all at once, leaving Oswald in a much stronger position to step in as, the new big guy in Gotham. And if he can do all of this to Fish and Falcone, you really think Maroni's a serious threat to him? And especially interesting when we look at the preview that we got to see for the next episode, which is some random thug going to him like, hey, aren't you that Penguin guy? And Oswald just goes up to him, no, the Penguin. The Penguin. That name that Oswald absolutely hated when we first met him. But now he's embracing it. I mean, he's still got things to learn. He's made mistakes since he climbed out of that river. But look at where he is now. He's the guy just a few steps away from having a knife in everybody's back. And then the umbrella carrier is the king of Gotham. Ooh. And just think, guys, we have 12 more episodes of this. Now, some people have complained that the show's kind of going a little slow on the mob storyline. This is, to me, just an example of a slow burn. You really want to build all this up. You really want to have that chess game if you're going to do a mob war story. And I have a feeling that mob war is really, really going to gear up pretty darn soon. And when it does, it's going to be crazy. And I think that kind of covers everything that I had to say about this episode, guys. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Who's Your Jedi. Until next time, take care and have a good one.